Hello, and I'm so excited that you let me put my face back into your place. So listen, I need to tell you a little bit about the video that's coming up. Are you ready? Hold on, wait for it. Yeah, a little bit of a channel identification thing, if you will. So I want to tell you a little bit about these videos because the truth is that I have made tons of videos over the years, and some of these have some really good content. And so I wanted to share them with you, but I wanted to tell you a little bit about them so that you would be kind in the comments and not ask me things like, well, why are you talking to people in the video, et cetera, et cetera. However, if you're in the vicinity of the comments section, now would be a great time for you to tap that subscription button and tap that bell so you'll know when I'm putting out fresh content. But like I was saying, some of these videos have been shared with my Facebook group. Some of them have been shared with clients. Some of them have been shared with programs, and I want you to have them. So do not rip me apart and say, Stephanie, you're giving us bootleg videos. No, I am not. I'm giving you videos with good quality content that may or may not have been previously viewed. Okay, now let's go. Hopefully this is jiving, jamming. It says a video source is required. So let's hopefully get our video source going. Come on, come on, come on, come on. All right, it says I've been live. Yes, there we go. We've been live for 5 seconds. First it said 4 minutes. I was like, how, Sway? How have we been live for 4 whole minutes? But we're here now. So I wanted to pop in and chat with you guys. Now, I realized that I did not promote this class at all. Sure didn't. You know why? Because I felt like the people that were going to be here are going to be here. That's just the way I feel today. And today has been a good day. So who all's in here? Let me know where you're coming in from. Who are you? Let me salute you properly. Say hi. Say hello. Let me see you in my comments, not just in my window. Who's that peeking in my window? Pal. Nobody now. All right, guys, drop those comments. I'm not talking if we ain't got no comments because I don't know. I don't know who's here. I don't know if this is the Phantom 3. I don't know if this is like the ghost of old Destiny's Child. Like, what's happening here? Drop me some comments. Let me know that it's real. Because I want to get into a conversation around calling in your superpowers. Hey, 𝘃𝗍𝗽 Davis. Douglas, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you were in here. I was like, you made me think. Am I in the group? I am in the group. What's going on? So I want to talk about these superpowers, right? Because we need to talk about them. But before we get to that, let me tell you what's going to happen on Friday. Friday, I'm doing a class on weaponized triggers. It's going to be free. It's going to be in here. All right. So if you've ever had anybody weaponize your triggers against you, or I know, right? I was like, oh, you're in here. Because I had to check. I was like, did I actually go live on my page? But no, thank you for being here, brother. I appreciate you. We don't often get a lot of testosterone around these parts. So it's always good to see male participation. So thank you for being here. Absolutely. So I'm doing a class on weaponized triggers on Friday. If you've ever had somebody weaponize your triggers against you, or if you've ever had somebody weaponize being triggered as the reason why they could do X, Y, and Z to you, or say X, Y, and Z, or yada, 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 I'm triggered. Listen, as the person who taught a 4-week intensive on triggers are very real. But there's a dark side to triggers, and we're going to get into that. I call it weaponized triggery. So we're going to get into it. We're going to get into it Friday at noon. We're going to get into it early. That way you can have the whole weekend to think about it. Okay? All right. So I see we've got some other people in here. Thank you, 𝘃𝗍𝗽, for being here. Who else is in here? Who's in here? Who's in the room? Come on in the room. Come on in the room. I don't know the rest of that. I grew up Methodist. Or as we say, like when you went to seminary, they say, you grew up in the Methodist tradition, or you grew up in the Baptist tradition, or the Pentecostal tradition. That's what they say in seminary. And I'm like, okay, the tradition. So today has been a good day, Marita Gilcrease. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I'm so excited. I have been up today. I had a meeting with my clients today. We have one coaching practice with 3 divisions, one of which is the launching firm. And out of that space, we selectively, by invitation only, exclusively work with companies that want to launch or level up. And so we are currently in a level up with title company here locally, Black-owned title company at that. And so I'm super excited. We are curating culture for them, and we're also developing a few more components of their marketing strategy, because that is a part of what I do, guys. The marketing never goes away. I'm an award-winning marketer. It never ever goes away. Like, no matter, I keep trying to put it over there. It's like, no, I'm here now. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna do this thing, right? I'm just gonna do it. So let me know, guys. Where are you? How was your day? Scale of 1 to 10. Was it a 1? I hope not. Maybe a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hopefully not a 5. Did anybody got a 7, 8, 9, 10? Oh yeah, it's going down. Weaponized triggers is happening Friday. Like, tell your friends, get your people in here. Like, you can even like sneak a friend of me in here or something. Just be like, hey, I think this would be, you know, helpful for you. Because you know those people. Yes indeed. Yes indeed. Weaponized triggers is a whole thing. So we're gonna talk about that on Friday. All right, guys. And if you haven't heard, I am working on a new program. It's gonna be epic. Although the current one is Epic Abundance, so there's that. Anywho, I want to get into this. Y'all ready for me to get into this? Because I want to share this because I think it's necessary. And like I said, I didn't even promote it because I felt like the people that wanted to be here would be here. And so I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to slide. I'm going to slide it into the event like about an hour, 30 minutes before, versus like, hey, this is what we're doing. And I mean, at the end of the day, that's what this is. Like, I've set the intention that I only show up for those that who are seeking me may find me. So at the end of the day, you know, if there's 2 people here, great. I'm completely fine with it. Let's rock out. So why do I want to talk about calling your superpowers? Well, beyond the fact that it's on brand, right? It's that people need to understand that they have superpowers. Like, seriously. And not in a cliche kind of way. One of the things I was telling my program coach today is that, you know, a lot of times as coaches, I feel like many of us say the same things. Now, those of us who, you know, stand in integrity, we don't say the exact same thing as other people because that would be stealing. But there are coaches that steal. And I'm going to say that every chance I get. There are coaches that hold steal. They will hold steal the things that you say. And the unfortunate is because, and when you do that, I'm not really impressed about you stealing from me. I'm sad because that means that your authentic energy is not showing through. You can't borrow my energy, okay? People not going to buy you if you're trying to be me. They're not. They're not going to do that. They're not going to buy you trying to be me. You need to be you so they can buy you, okay? Because they're not going to buy you trying to be me. That's not going to work out. Okay, great. So, you know, as I said, I feel like many times a lot of us will say the same thing, even if we say it in our own voice. And for those of you who are coaches, it's necessary for you to have your own voice. Those of you who are leaders, necessary for you to have your own voice. Those of you who are owners, necessary for you to have your own voice, especially if you have a team, because you're galvanizing the team around that voice. They're being galvanized around that cause. They're being galvanized around what we are achieving. So y'all let me know who's here. Say hello so I can greet you properly. Same thing with leaders, you know. And so being able to stand in your voice is so necessary. And yeah, I guess that could be the bonus superpower from tonight, because a lot of times people don't want to stand in their voice because, one, they don't know what that is. They're not confident enough to not walk around talking about, you know, their isms, when I've been saying Steph-isms for years. They're not confident enough to understand what it means to talk about being your own superhero without trying to throw superhero into their brand. I'm like, I've been talking about this for 2 years. Like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you doing? But again, it's not about me. I'm an idea factory. So for those who want to bite on the facsimile and create a facsimile, there's that. What's going on, Danielle? Danielle Leanne she's on the best Steph squad. She helps Steph be the best Steph. Trust me. Like, trust me. I couldn't have pulled off what we pulled off this morning without you. Like, oh my goodness. And thank you for our chat. Thank you so much. So, you know, like I said, standing in your voice is kind of the bonus superpower. And it's so important when you're hoping to lead a movement, be a thought leader, be influential, have impact. You can't do that in somebody else's voice. I
don't know how I got on this. Yeah, I do, because people steal. Okay, but I don't want you to feel the need to steal, and I want you to feel that your voice is powerful enough. Y'all let me know if this is resonating. Put you up in the comments. But I want you to know that your voice is powerful enough in the way that you say things. But like I was saying, I feel like as coaches, a lot of times we all say the same thing. And even though we may say it in our voice, I still feel like many of us, we still sometimes say the same thing. So I wanted to talk about calling in your superpowers, and I wanted to make sure that it wasn't the superpowers that people talk about, i.e., standing in your power, setting boundaries. I talk about boundaries all the time. Activate and adhere to your boundaries, because that matters, right? I talk about a lot of things a lot. And for a lot of people, that I become like this glaring, today, very brightly colored reminder of who they need to be and being who they're meant to be. A lot of times I'm just that beacon saying, hey, me, be the best you, right? And being the best you requires these things. And learning to be your own superhero requires these things. And being able to get your shift together requires these things. And this is, again, my voice. But like I said, I wanted to talk about something. I want to talk about something that's often talked about in a way that is not often talked about. Does that make sense? If it does, put yep in the comments. Let me know it's real, guys. I need your comments. I need your energy. Give me a little bit of energy. But this should be a quick one. Well, I guess it depends, because when y'all start talking back, then everything kind of goes a little bit longer. But I'll try to give this to you pretty easy breezy. All right. So first things first, calling in your superpower. The first superpower, and I'm only going to talk about 3 tonight, right? Because we could be here all day. Okay, I'm not talking about X-ray vision. I'm not talking about flying. I'm not talking about super strength. I'm going to talk about, drum roll please, committing to self-covenants. Committing to self-covenants. Well, what the hell are you talking about, Stephanie? I'm talking about keeping the promises that you make to yourself. That is a superpower. Keeping your self-covenants is a superpower. Keeping self-covenant is the reason why I am no longer externally employed. Because as I began to look at my life, and I said the thing, y'all have heard this, I put it on a t-shirt. Well, Natasha did, Coach Natasha did, put it on a t-shirt. One of my self-covenants is I only receive being celebrated and not tolerated. As I began to really look at what was going on in my position as a professor, I was being tolerated, period. I knew that. I knew I was being tolerated. Not so much by my students, but, by those that I answer to. And I'm like, why? Why? Why am I allowing that to happen? So the closer we got to the beginning of this semester, I kept saying, Steph, and Steph was like, what you gonna do, chick? What? Well, I keep the covenants to myself. So that meant that I had to resign. And so I did. Now, I'll tell you the truth. I wasn't just ready to go. I was prepared to leave. I had been planning for quite some time so that I could make that decision from a really practical and pragmatic standpoint. So it wasn't like I just got my stuff and left, and I left everything in a lurch. Nah, I had an exit strategy. And it was just a question of when I was going to pull that trigger. Can y'all relate to that? Y'all let me know. So keeping the promises to yourself is a superpower. And when I say that you keep the promises to yourself, I mean the healthy promises, not the pendulum promises. You're probably going, well, what's the difference, Stephanie? A pendulum promise is the promise, or pendulum promises are, there we go, the promises that you make on the heels of a uncomfortable, some might say dramatic, some might say disastrous, maybe even catastrophic-ish situation where you make promises like, I'll never. Pendulum promises usually start like that. I'll never date another Aries. I'll never get married again. I'll never. Like, you make these pendulum promises, and they're done in an energy of hyper protection. And for the most part, anytime we use the word hyper, that means it's tied to a wound, okay? So if you're hyper vigilant, hyper protective, hyper independent, like anytime somebody attaches the word hyper to something, it's usually connected to a wound. Y'all let me know if this is resonating. I want to know. Talk to me. Talk to me. Let me know if this is making sense. Because if it's not making sense, I'll just stop talking. No, I'll try to make it make sense. Come on, y'all know how I do. So keeping the promises that you make to yourself I'm not talking about those pendulum promises. I'm not talking about those never promises that actually are not going to help you go where you need to go. I'm talking about the promises that you make in your healthiest state when you say things like, you know what, I really need to eat better. Oh, you know what, I really need, this is the problem about being on camera with, there we go. Okay, with the image reversed. I'm like, okay, I know these things are going like all kinds of directions. But anyway, I know I need to eat better. That's a promise that you can make to yourself. And I would dare say, as an integrative nutrition health coach, that it's imperative that you qualify what the better is, so you don't put yourself into a situation where you're doing all of these things at once. Like, I'm gonna drink the water, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna cut out the sugar, and da-da-da-da. Okay, you can do all that stuff at one time, but it's going to be overwhelming. Okay, Rita says it makes perfect sense to her. Okay, good deal. So you can do all that stuff, but we want to do things kind of in a phase. When we're transforming, we're going to kind of do it in phases. Like, we don't want to overwhelm the system, right? Because your unhealthy ego has a tendency to rise up really hard when you kind of give it that jerk, like, you know what, we're doing a new thing, let's go. It's like, no. Unhealthy ego doesn't like new things. It doesn't like it. Can't manage it, can't control it. It doesn't like new things. So, other promises might be like, you know what, I want to go outside more. Well, what is more? Is that once a week? Does that mean what does that mean? Are you going to stand outside? Are you going to stand outside barefooted with your feet in the grass? Yay! That's called grounding. Or are you going to take a lap around your neighborhood? Oh, you know what? I need quiet time to myself. Again, another promise. These promises are made in an effort to keep you operating at the optimum levels that you need to be operating at. You're not making promises because you're trying to protect yourself from something external, right? You're not trying to control things you actually can't control. You actually don't know what's going on, 𝘃𝗵𝗃. You actually don't know if you're not going to date another Aries. Like, you actually can't control that. You probably fall in love and they say, what? You're like, oh my God, you're just so amazing. When's your birthday? April 19th. Oh crap. And it's like, hi Aries, there it is. So that again, that's not the promises I'm talking about. I'm talking about the promises that you make to yourself to ensure that you are doing what is best for you. So if that's quiet time, movement, reading more books, getting a subscription on Audible, whatever it is, going down to check out a store with crystals and all kinds of, whatever it is, even if that means you're gonna make a new wardrobe, whatever that is. I mean, I'm just saying, like, 𝘃𝗵𝗃's laughing. I'm just saying, whatever it is that you need in order to be your favorite you. You remember that meme that I posted? Whenever you need to be your favorite you, whatever brings that energy to you, then those are the promises that we need to keep. So our first superpower is committing to self-covenants. Commitment means we lock down, clank, clank. We're locked down to that self-covenant. We're not wavering in that self-covenant. We're not letting anybody take us out of that self-covenant, because that's a promise I made to myself. And I need to be true. If I'm true to nobody else, I got to be true to myself. Y'all got that? If it makes sense, put yep in the comments. The favorite you, yes. I thought that meme was so powerful, guys. If you haven't seen it, it's on the news feed. Check it out. I thought it was really great, and I'm probably going to start using that because I just thought it was really awesome. But I'm going to give credit where credit is due, because I don't steal. Okay, great. All right, so the next superpower I'm going to talk about is seeking clarity. Again, I'm not going to talk about the superpowers that everybody else talks about. I need to talk about things that aren't talked about. I need to say the unsaid. So let's talk about seeking clarity, because here's the thing. Some of us don't want to activate that superpower. See, 𝘃𝗵𝗃's here. I knew she was going to be the scribe. I knew she was going to put it down for us. Seeking clarity, first of all, the reason why it's a superpower is because it keeps confusion at a minimum. And I don't know about you, but when confusion is running rampant in my life, first thing I know is confusion isn't divine. There's nothing divine about confusion. It's always about peace. And so when you're making decisions, it's always, let the peace of God guide you. Let the peace of the divine guide you. Let the peace of the universe, of source, of whomever you want to call it, whatever. One of the gifts I've gotten from graduating from seminary is spiritual diversity. I don't care what you call on. Yay! So there was another gift I got, but we can talk about that we can talk about that later. Actually, we can talk about that Friday in Weaponized Triggers. We can talk. Y'all remind me to share the other gift from seminary. But seeking clarity is a superpower because it keeps the confusion at a minimum. And when we keep confusion at a minimum, we keep a lot of things at bay. You know, physiologically, we keep a lot of hormonal responses. We keep our fight or flight. I always get it backwards. I think that's the parasympathetic nervous system or the sympathetic nervous system. Anyway, you keep your nervous system, your fight or flight mode in your nervous system, whichever one it is, you keep that at a minimum. And what that does is it allows your body to cycle in and cycle out of its processes without minimal stress. See, here's the thing about your body. It craves balance. It craves what's called homeostasis. But when we're confused, when we don't know what's going on, we start to stress out, we start to pump cortisol, we start to pump other stress hormones, we start to raise our blood pressure, we start to get really tense in our bodies, we start lowering our vibration. There's a whole lot of things that happen. And so seeking clarity is a superpower because not only do we keep the confusion at a minimum, but it allows us to continue to function like we need to function. Thank you, girl. This blazer. Yes, let's pause. Let's pause for the blazer. We need a moment for the blazer from Shein. This one is actually an extra large, and I should have actually, honestly, I should have gone down like 2 sizes. This is the extra large, and I bought it because you know Shein, you know, can be some people say Shine, SHEIN, Shein. Sometimes their sizes can be a little wonky. I said, get the extra large. I wish now I would have gotten a medium. Because it's a little big. It's stretchy too, y'all. Ooh, it's stretchy. It's stretchy. And I'm loving it. And it goes with the ring. See how the turquoise is setting it off? See how it's happening? See how turquoise is happening? See how it's happening? Yes, okay, great. Thank you, y'all. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, yeah, just one time for the blazer. Just had to give that up, you know. Just all these colors. Just, yes. But here's the thing also, right? So we're keeping the confusion at a minimum, but here's the thing. Sometimes we don't seek clarity because we don't want to be wrong. We don't want to be corrected. We don't want to run the risk of having done all of this stuff, right? But it's not going to yield the outcome that we want. I'm like, listen, guys, we've got to get to the point where we can be coachable and teachable regularly. Now, sometimes I don't always want to hear what the people that are on my Best Steph squad have to say. I don't. You know, sometimes I've gotten it wrong. Sometimes I estimated wrong. But you know what? I'm not triggered by being wrong anymore. That's not a wound that I have to address and dress. That's not a wound that I have to do anything with anymore because I've already dealt with it because I'm not bothered by being wrong. Oh yeah, definitely. No, I order stuff from them all the time, and Boohoo too. Boohoo, I was on the fence about, but yeah. There you go. See, there, everybody, it's there. It's new, y'all. I think it was like $10, but it's there. It's new. I've got 2 of them. Wait till you see the other one. So, okay, so it's like, Stephanie, stay focused. I am focused. We're focused on fashion. See, seeking clarity. What did everybody see? We talked about the blazer. Tevra said, I wanted clarity on opening, see, on ordering. See how that works? She got the clarity she needed. Now, she got the clarity she needed. Now she can go shop. See how that works? I get the clarity that I need. I can move forward. Instead of sitting there thinking about how wrong I was or how wrong I could have been, I get clarity. I can move forward. I get clarity. I can get what I need. I get clarity. I can get what I want. See how this works? Hey, Beata. How are you, my dear? So, you know, I can do that by seeking clarity. And let me say something, you know, seeking clarity sometimes may require an investment in yourself. Time, talent, treasure. But sometimes it may require an investment. You may need to get a coach. You may need to get a counselor. You may need to get a therapist. You may need to get an advisor. You may need to get a consultant. You may need to get a lawyer. See, one of the problems is, you know, we're always so hesitant to make investments when it's money. You know, when we start talking about that treasure, when we start talking about that money, people start getting real, but my money. And I'm like, but let's think it through though. You know, let's say you need to see a lawyer, and let's say that lawyer costs $500 an hour. But that conversation with that lawyer is going to save you $5,000. It might even save you $105,000. Because with the clarity that you get, you can move forward. Do you see what I'm saying? So sometimes we have to count the cost. And so this is why oftentimes seeking clarity is a superpower that's not discussed. Being committed to your self-covenants is a superpower that's not discussed. It's just not. Y'all let me know if this is resonating. Put yep in the comments. Let me know. If y'all can hear that, that is me scratching my leg in these leggings, I swear. This is my outfit from today. You know, I would love to tell you guys that I got dressed just for you, but I will tell you that I stayed dressed just for you. Yes, I did. All right, so while I'm letting y'all catch up, just a quick reminder, Weaponized Triggers is happening on Friday. That, too, is going to be a great class to invite some people in. We definitely want to make sure that we're growing this community so we can all be supported. That's really, really important. So I definitely highly recommend invite a friend or two. Why is your finger up? You got it. Okay, she's like, I got it. To me, the finger means that you got it. Am I taking that right? Maybe, maybe not. Possibly. Just saying. Okay. All right, guys. So I'm going to keep it pushing. So I told you I was only going to do 3, right? Oh, okay. So, y'all ready? If you're ready, put ready in the comments. Let me know who we hanging with. I can't even see who's on anymore. Well, that's interesting. We've got 5 people watching, but we've only got a handful to comment. Come on in. Get the comment popping. I'm going to keep this super duper short, okay? I'm going to try to, unless y'all start asking questions. All right, so I think y'all are ready. Let's get to the last one. Because the last one is a superpower that I don't think anybody really discusses. But I'm going to. And you're like, well, what is it? Drum roll, please. Oh, wait a minute. Your last superpower is correcting audacity. Let me let that just simmer in and sink in because I know. I'm going to let it simmer and sink in. Correcting audacity is a superpower. And you know why correcting audacity is a superpower? Is because audacity is at an all-time high, people. Seriously. I saw a post that Andrea did, and I love Andrea. She's my personal witch. I love her. And her post said audacity must be on sale. And I'm like, you know what, sis? You're very much correct. Audacity must be on sale. Audacity is at an all-time high. That's what Coach Natasha says often. And I'm like, you know what? But audacity doesn't have to come with a malicious intent. I know I had the audacity to address this, right? Like, there's nothing wrong with being audacious, right? But there is something wrong with people being audacious with you when that's not what you want. When somebody has thank you, the price just went up. Exactly. The audacity of someone to call, now I'm going to start with little bitty things. The audacity for someone to call you by your name and then pronounce it incorrectly and you don't correct them. One of my pet peeves is mispronouncing people's names. So I expect to be corrected. In fact, I will ask. And I've had people say things like, oh, it doesn't matter. Oh, but it does. That is your name. That is your name. And it's important that people say your name correctly. But furthermore, it's important that you correct them to say your name correctly. Right? No, you're not Destiny's Child. Say my name, say my name. Oh, I can imagine, Tivra, Tavira. I can imagine. But, I mean, it's a tiny thing, right? All the way up to, when people got you completely messed up. Some might say effed up. When people got you completely effed up. We've got to correct that. Exactly. It does matter. It does matter what you allow people to call you. It does matter how you allow people to function and process and operate in the space of your life. If there are things that people are doing, and I'm not saying, a lot of times people say, oh, I don't like confrontation. Well, confrontation and confronting are two different things. there are things that I need to confront. Oh Lord, not L's. Oh Lord. How they add L's to you? There's no L's in anyway. But confronting the reality that you've done something that I didn't appreciate, that is a superpower. Because that superpower says that I am willing, let's go, yes, that we are willing, and I am willing to I don't want to say control, but I'm going to say control. To control how people engage and interact with me in my life, in my world. Because that matters. Exactly. And so when you see, here's the thing though, when you correct them, what that says is that, see, that's a power move. That's going to raise your vibration. Yes, you are now standing in your power, but even more so than that, you're commanding respect in your world. You can't just come in my world and act any kind of way. I'm not going to have it. It's like coming into my house. Yesterday, Tasha Christie was teaching about in her Emerge class, right? Her Emerge class. You ready? Okay. And so she was talking about how our lives online, our sphere online, and I'm paraphrasing, Tasha, I know you're in here so you can correct me, but she was saying that we need to consider this like our space, like our home. And just as I wouldn't let anybody come through the doors of my house and act any kind of way and be reckless in my space, they get to come in and jump on the furniture and all of that. No. The space of my world, of my life, requires that people have some act right. You're not going to talk to me any kind of way. I don't let people yell at me. I only let my mother yell at me. And some of you know my mother. And so when she begins to raise her voice to the point where it could possibly become even the precipice of a yell, ma'am, we don't do that here. Oh yeah, people are often offended by correction. Absolutely. I had a client like that. Absolutely offended by correction. Which is why she's no longer a client. Because at the end of the day, I give kudos and correction in love. That's always my goal with whomever I'm working with, right? But again, if you're operating in my world and in my space, meaning that you're spending time with me, you're not going to come in here any kind of way. You're not going to come in here saying what you want to say, doing what you want to do. You're not going to jump on my furniture. You're not going to disrespect my boundaries. You're not going to drink up all my water, my good alkaline electrolyte water. So we got to think about that. Exactly. Like people will come into your life online and engage in what Dave Anderson calls 𝘗𝗵𝗶𝗀, I believe is the term he uses, 𝘗𝗵𝗶𝗀. Because see, they're behind a screen, and so sometimes they may say little slick things that they wouldn't normally say to you in your face. And I'm like, but listen, it's all my space. Online, this is my space. This community is my space. My home is my space. My social media profile is my space. And so you will have act right in my space. Period. Even dealing with my clients. I'm seeing them by Zoom, still my space. There will be no disrespect in my space. And I'll be honest with you guys, sometimes people are inadvertently disrespectful. You know, it's just some things that they picked up over the years, and there's behaviors that they engage in, and that's what they do. And so you have every right to correct someone having the audacity to engage with you in a way that is not valuable to you, that is not serving you what you desire to eat. We've talked about that. Get it in, baby, get it in. You know how we do. I'm always willing to bust out in random songs, song lyrics, and movie quotes. Always. I'm always down for it. Okay? Okay. Good talk. So we've got to stop saying things like, ooh, oh, are you not chopped and screwed, ma'am? What do you know about chopped and screwed, you Yankee, you? So, you know, people say all the time, I don't want to deal with confrontation. Again, confronting the matter is not a confrontation. It's not a confrontation in the way that, like, everything doesn't have to become an argument. And then by that same token, if you do correct someone with love, right, and they come back with heat, and perhaps, you know, somebody even say hate, then we know that that may not be somebody that we need to entertain. They will not be invited back to the house. The virtual house, the physical house, the energetic house, none of the houses. They're not coming back. What does 𝗃𝗏𝗃 say? I'm a firm believer with factors of no matter how smooth it try to be, it may still be disrespect. On their end, like even if they're like, is that what you're saying? If they're doing that, it may be they're still being disrespectful no matter how kind or smooth they may try to do it, you know? I get it. Some people, and we're going to get into this on Friday, some people have audacity or engage in audacious behaviors or have the unmitigated gall to do certain things to you because they're actually weaponizing your triggers. They know you well enough to do that, so they're weaponizing your triggers. And so again, we're going to talk about that on Friday. Okay, gotcha. Okay, yeah. So what we want to make sure of today, that we spent a little bit of time calling in these superpowers that we don't normally talk about. So just to reflect, just to recap, okay? The first one was committing to self-covenants. These are the superpowers we call in that nobody talks about. Keeping your self-covenants, committing to self-covenants, keeping the promises that you have to yourself. 2, seeking clarity, which is a superpower because it keeps the confusion within you at a minimum. And being unconfused is a beautiful thing. But honestly, sometimes activating that superpower may mean, no, I got you, 𝗃𝗏𝗃. Activating that superpower may mean that you need to make an investment. Time, talent, and treasure. It may actually be treasure. So we need to count the cost of that and stop acting like things cost too much when it comes to something that we need. Oops. Because you know what? We can buy a lot of things that we don't need. But somehow when it comes to things that we do need, we will start backpedaling like we in a spin class and we forgot to wear our butt pads. You know, now and this is why, just as a side note, this is why I don't do spin classes, because I'm like, that is not what I want with my life. But exactly. So seeking clarity. Stop saying that if you find out in your quest for clarity that you need to speak with a professional, make the investment to do so. In your quest for clarity, if you need to spend some time engaging with materials and learning, or maybe taking a class on Udemy or whatever, then do that. In your quest for clarity, if you find that you need to connect with other people, collaborate, then do that. Stop acting like things are too expensive, time, talent, and treasure, when it comes to you. You spend a whole lot of time on other people. You've shared a whole lot of your talent with other people. You've given a whole lot of people some of your treasure. Let's be clear about that. And then let's start to bring that energy back into us, because that is what it means to be your own superhero. Last but not least, correcting audacity. Thank you, 𝗃𝗏𝗃, my love. Or 𝗃𝗏𝗃. Like, I still don't understand how people put L's in your name. 𝗃𝗏𝗃. Thank you, 𝗃𝗏𝗃. I know your name. Like that doesn't even make sense. That's not what I've called you most of your life, but I know your name. All right, I love that. I love the high fives. Psh, I'm giving high fives back. So last thing, like I said, correcting audacity. You have every right to correct the audacious behaviors of others as it relates to how they operate in your world, your social media world, your world of your home. I'm looking at my front door. That's why I'm like, the world of your home, your energetic world, your world, period, in real life. You have that. Stop running from confrontation. It doesn't have to be an argument. It's not hard. Saying 𝗃𝗏 is not hard. I get that. I don't understand. But it doesn't have to be a confrontation just because you're confronting the issue. And I hope that helps somebody. I hope that, these are the superpowers that you're going to call in. I like to look at uncommon things. I love to see, that post in the group about what do you love about you. I can see the divine in the mundane, and I love that. I can see things that people don't see, and I'm willing to audiate it because I think it needs to be said. I want you to be empowered. You know, I don't want to just give you information. I want to give you information that you can take, that you can bring into yourself, that can expand you, and that can illuminate your path. That's what I want to do. All right. So hopefully that was helpful. Let me know, are there any questions, anything I need to clear up? I'm happy to do so. Otherwise, I'll see you guys on Friday for Weaponized Triggers. I'm doing that at noon. Don't look for me Friday night. I won't be here. I'm doing that at noon. All right, guys. Oh, okay. It's the little things. Absolutely. Never thought about your superpower. Absolutely. And I want you to think about it. I really, truly do. I want you to think about that as a superpower. So guys, thank you so much for hanging out. Those of you who don't know, my name is Stephanie D. McKenzie. I'm the lead coach at the firm. That's one coaching practice with 3 divisions. And we spend a lot of time supporting high achieving coaches, owners, and leaders to shift into more love, more money, and more purpose. I had to think. I was like, what are we going to give them? More abundance? More love, more money, more purpose. That is what we are all about. And I'm going to be telling you a little bit more about the new program that's coming out next year and just all the things. So I'm super excited that, guys, we had this time together. Hey, Miss Deborah, how you doing? And yeah, as I always say, thank you guys so much for loving and learning with me. Have a beautiful night.